It was scary, especially the first year. I was like scared every day. And I think like fear is the emotion, but courage is the action. So I just kept choosing courage over and over and over again, even though it was so difficult. And I look back and I'm just so thankful that I did.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to Cold Cut with Angélique. I'm Angélique, and today I have a very special friend with me, a young lady that I knew years ago when she was just starting out, and she is one of the kindest, most beautiful souls you will ever meet. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a dream. Honestly, I'm honored. I'm very honored to be here.
So, Jackie, there's so much I want to ask you, and I feel like there is so many beautiful things that you can share with the audience because you really are the definition of beauty inside and out. Okay.
I
The
appreciate that.
Yes, the things that you do in this world to help other people and how you put yourself out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Give us a little bit of background into what you do.
Sure. So I am a speech language pathologist by trade. I went to school, I think it's like my ninth, eighth year being a speech language pathologist. And um, through that journey, I kind of found yoga as well. So I'm a yoga teacher, and um, mainly for my business in speech language pathology is I work with non-speaking individuals, so people who can't communicate verbally, and I give them the technology to support their communication. So, say somebody is coming to me with, they're in a wheelchair or they can't use their fingers to communicate. Because a lot of times I'll give a lot if you see like autistic individuals with like iPads or things that they like press to talk. Sometimes I have a lot of the kiddos and patients that come to me that are in wheelchairs that can't necessarily use their limbs or just their fingers as easily. So my job gets a little bit more creative because I have to come up with different solutions for those kids and those adults. I work with like a variety of people, which is so much fun. It's very challenging, but super fun and rewarding at the same time.
And you are really doing a lot of beautiful work out there. I remember when I first met you, you were a kid.
Yeah.
God, you had to be, gosh, I want to say 18, 19, something like
I
that.
was probably 19 or 20 when you met me.
Yeah. And you were always the most thoughtful and really compassionate and empathetic, which is interesting because it's no surprise that the kind of work that you would be doing is to help other people. Tell us a little bit about, the why behind, what brought you to speech and language pathology. And it's interesting because that's what my mother did. And I think I told you
I
that. Did I tell you
You
that?
might have. I don't remember, it's not really coming to me, but that's wow.
Yeah. She's now the assistant deputy commissioner for the Department of Health in Westchester County. But
Whoa,
yeah, she was a speech and language pathologist and she used to go to houses and help little kids and do the whole thing. And she worked for the Children's School for Early Development. So it's a
that's so great.
it's a beautiful path.
It is. I think what really drew me to the profession was, well, first of all, I didn't even know I wanted to be a speech language pathologist. It kind of really fell into my lap. I knew I wanted to work with children with disabilities, but I wasn't sure how. And I was thinking maybe a teacher path, but I was like, that doesn't really feel right. And then somebody had asked me if I looked into speech language pathology, and I was like, no. Let me go check it out. Honestly, I didn't do much research into it, I will say. And I was like, let's do it. And I went to school and just tried the program because it was kind of a cutthroat program. And I look back and I'm like, how did I actually how did I have the chutzpah to do that? There was a director there that I went into apply for the program, and I was very excited. And I get in there, and I'm doing cheerleading at the time at William Patterson University in New Jersey. And she's like, "You're a cheerleader? There's no way you're going to get into this program. It's like really intense." She saw that I had a B in health, and I was like, she goes, "You're not going to get in because if you're not going to take this seriously, like that's, the chances are there's only 20 spots and there's 90 people applying to this. So chances are you probably won't get in. And I'm like, okay. So I tried anyway and really just made myself known in the class. And the classes, I take like 4 classes. So I just made myself known. I really tried. I really applied. I still cheerleading. I didn't go out. Like, it was really just more, I was focusing on this study. And when I started taking classes, I was like, this is really interesting. And I love what I'm learning right now, and felt really passionate about it. So ended up getting in, and it was such a cool time. So I went into the BA/MS program for William Patterson University, and I think when I first started in the work field, I was a little bit disillusioned. It was hard to get back in, like, to get into, like, the work mindset. I was like, "Wait a second. This is all there is? Like, I'm here. I thought that this would all solve my problems, getting into it with the workforce. This is what I was been building up to do." And I felt like, in a way, I was kind of just thrown into the wolves. And I was also working as an AAC technology specialist in my first job. So I was working with autistic individuals that needed a lot of support. And I didn't know what I was doing, quite honestly. I was like, this is so, so hard. And I think during that time when I worked there for about 3 years, I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I need some public school. Maybe I need to go to find another opportunity. And I started looking into programs that were what is it? Like traveling nursing, but like traveling speech pathology. So I started looking into that. That kind of just fell into my lap too. And I was like, that would be so cool. I've always dreamt about moving somewhere different, or just trying some new places out. And I was like, let me try it. It was right before COVID. And I started looking into just some traveling positions. And I told my boyfriend, now husband, um, what do you think? Do you think this is something that we could do? And it was kind of on the fence. And um, basically COVID happened, and I was like, okay, I think this is the best time. Let's give it a shot. So
Yeah.
he's such a saint, because he had to really pick up and leave with me, because I had a job at the public school district here in LA. So now I'm in LA. And I started at the public school district, and I was like, wait, this isn't it either. And I felt myself really drawn to the technology aspect and supporting non-speakers. So I think what I'm trying to get at is, like, starting my business was because I felt like I wasn't doing anybody justice being in the public school district. It's very hard to be a speech language pathologist in the public school district. You feel like you're running on a hamster wheel all day. Nothing's working. You're just like, I need to do something meaningful. Like, this doesn't feel meaningful, or it doesn't feel like I'm actually making an impact at all. So I will say COVID has been awesome. I had COVID again, and I started my business through that. I was like, okay, here I am. I'm just going to make a website. I'm going to figure out how to get a business license in LA. I'm going to just do that while I have COVID. It was like 7 days that I had to be isolated. So I was like, I didn't even feel that bad. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I sat with that business license for a year until I got my first client. I was still working at the public school district, just honestly very in like these depressive episodes, just feeling like I am not doing what I want to do. Like, I felt like I was, um, yeah, just like meaningless work. Like, it didn't feel good, um, or that I had any direction or like path. And
Well,
ended up opening my business. Yeah.
no, so what's so interesting, so there's like 3 things that are very interesting here. One is the very, very beginning that somebody told you you're not gonna get in, and something pulled you to go do it anyway, and even though the odds
Hmm.
were stacked against you, you still got in. 2, then you ended up in the workforce doing this thing, but it wasn't the thing, but it was something, right? And you started to follow this path. And what I love about your story is the biggest mistake a lot of us make is thinking that a dream or a passion or something that we feel has to play out exactly the way it's played out for others, or on some script, when in reality, it will reveal itself, and yours revealed itself. And what I love about you, Jackie, and this is why I really wanted you on the show, is because you are really masterful. And I think this is innate in you because you've done this as a young person all the way through at going through the open door. The door opens, you go through it. The door opens, you go through it. You don't question it. You're not unsure. You might be like, okay, but what your intuition tells you something, you go with it. And that is a hallmark of people who are truly successful because they really do marry their intellect and their intuition. And that's what gives you wisdom. And the wisdom is what brings you to the path and fully in your power and fully in your light. And that is what you are ultimately doing. And
Thank you.
why I love this is because somebody tells you, oh, no, not you. You're a cheerleader. You're not going to be the one that's going to get that spot. And you did because that's your path, and whatever you had to do to get it, of course, but that's your path. And then even being with a man that decided, yeah, all right, let's go. Let's pack it up and go where you have to go.
He's a saint.
But there's an alignment there when you live from your heart. And I think that's what you do. You live from your heart. You go where you need to go, but you follow your heart.
Yeah. And I will say it was scary, like, especially when I started picking up business. Business started coming a little bit easier, and I was still working at the public school district, so I was doing both, and it was feeling overwhelming. And it came to a point where it was like, it's a clear path that I should be just letting go of the full-time position and trying my own business. But it was scary. Like, I was crying every day mostly, and it felt right in my heart, but also my mind was like, well, what if I'm not able to make ends meet? What if, this is just a lot of people also were like, public schools, they give you a pension, they give you good health insurance, they give you everything. And a lot of people at the public school district they were questioning kind of what I was doing and why I was doing it. And it made me second guess myself too, to be like, wait, should I be doing this? Is this a smart move? In my heart, I knew it was, but at the same time, my mind and the fear was incredible. And I felt like this is only my second year in business. I'm probably 2.5 years now. Um, but it was scary, especially the first year. I was, like, scared every day, and I think, like, fear is the emotion, but courage is the action, so I just kept choosing courage over and over and over again, even though it was so difficult, and I look back and I'm just so thankful that I did because I feel like things have been great in business, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, you've said it. You chose courage.
Mhm.
And that is the difference. That's the nuance, right? Everyone's going to be scared. Fear is all around us. I mean, the fear programming is like the program, right? Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And also self-doubt is always going to be there, especially when you're just starting out because you're trying to figure it out. You don't have the answer. Stability is a trap in a lot of ways because stability says, hey, here's your health insurance, here's your 401k, here's all of the negotiables that are here that you know that you're going to have. The dream requires that you take the leap, and it's the leap of faith. And the way you do that is exactly what you said. You choose to have courage. And it is a choice because the other choice is to be afraid. And in fairness, there are many people who choose to be afraid because they're not sure and they want the stability and they're too scared to go for the dream. And then as life keeps moving forward, the heart, that pesky little thing, it constantly pulls you. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's constantly pulling you. And even when you're like, okay, now, sir, okay, now, madam, quiet. I'm done with that. And the heart's like, but we're not. We're not done with that because
Right.
that's why we're here. So we're going to keep pulling you until you choose courage. So that's a beautiful way of putting it, Jackie, that you were terrified, but you kept choosing to show up in this way anyway.
Yeah. It was challenging, and my husband, didn't hear the end of it. Like, I was constantly like, "I don't know, this is hard. I'm having a hard day. Like, I don't know what to do in this business situation." But I think it's just you just keep moving forward. You just keep doing it, you keep trying, you fail. I think innately I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways. Like, I won't do something because it won't be perfect the first time. But in other ways, it's like, well, I just have to do it to figure it out. Like, I have to do it and it has to happen the way it's going to happen. And in a way, I learn by my mistakes, but I don't like that. Like, my perfectionist in me is like, no, don't do that, please. Know what you're doing. So there's such like this pull all the time. And sometimes it's hard to be like, no, I know what you're trying to do, Jackie. Like, come on, just do the thing. And it's going to be hard, but it's okay. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, and we're told that we have to be perfect in every sort of way, okay? We have to look perfect, we have to act perfect, we have to speak perfectly, we have to present perfectly. And what has ultimately happened is we have lost the humanity, the part that is messy. Humans are creators, and creators by nature try to figure things out.
Mm.
We don't come with the rule book, we write it. So for us, it's, when somebody says, "Oh, well, you have to present and you have to this," present what? You have to live. And it's really interesting how, paradoxical it actually is. It's all in the opposite. So the perfectionism actually stalls us out, where the allowing of the messiness pushes us forward. It's why, like, when you see artists and their desks are like, oh man, nightmares.
That creative mind.
Oh my god, or the notebooks. I mean, I know for myself, I have, like, tons of notebooks that I write all of my ideas or all of my anything I wanna write, I write in these black notebooks, and they're everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah.
They're in a purse, and they're all different sizes. I have huge ones, I have little ones, because creation is messy, and bringing
Yeah.
something into the world, it takes a lot of your energy and a lot of faith.
I think one thing that I've had to learn is greater self-compassion for myself in those moments, because I felt like, and I can kind of relate this to teaching yoga as well. Like, when I started teaching yoga, which is such a deep passion of mine, I love it so much. When you start teaching yoga, you suck. Like, you're not good whatsoever. And I teach other people also how to teach yoga, and this is something we talk about a lot. It's like it's not easy. It's not fun for anybody in the room, you and them. Like, it's not fun, but you have to do the hard thing. You have to keep stepping up. You have to keep trying, because the more you try, the better you'll get. And it's just this learning phase. And I felt like when I first started teaching yoga, I was in this perfectionist phase of my life, and I was so hard on myself. I didn't want to go back. I was like, this is not for me either. Like, I shouldn't. And I took a year even after training to finally do it. And um yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey. I'm so happy that I kept going, because I absolutely love it. And it's something that I feel is super, like, rewarding for me to do outside of my business.
Well, I think your mission in this world is to be a healer. And you do that through
Mm.
many different ways, right? You use your skills in different ways. Yoga is really great. Any kind of movement. Mine was dance. And it's funny because dance is no different. You don't know anything when you walk in there. You don't know how to break down the dances. You don't know how to teach. And a lot of teachers, people don't know this, know just a little bit more than they're teaching their students. So it is this practice where everybody's kind of on this journey together, and one person is the guide, and the other people are kind of moving through that. And there are certain
Mm.
personalities for that. So you have the personality to be a guide. And that's something that is a great gift. When you really stop and looked at it, it's like being a lighthouse for other people, really putting
Mhm.
something together and being like, okay, I don't know what this is. But I've got this little light and I could show you what I got. And then, we could figure it out as we go along.
I think another thing that really impacted my, like, ability to just be in the limelight or just, like, even for, like, teaching yoga, you have to stand up there, you have to be so vulnerable in my business as well, just being up and being the, like, face of it and like, I struggled with just public speaking for the longest time, like, I didn't like it. I still don't, but I also know that it's good for me, like, this exposure and just continuous, like, getting up in front of people and doing it. Like, I still feel a little butterflies. It still feels a little scary every time I do it, but at the same time, it's like, I know this is good, and when I get the feedback after class, it's like, "That was great. I really needed that." This was a perfect dharma or intention because I always, like, prepare something for class, and, um, so all those but, like, every time I get up there, I'm like, I could leave right now. Like, you could leave. When I take new clients, it's like, "Do you know you could also just not do that?" I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah. That's the battle though. I mean,
It
I love how
is.
you're describing this because so many people can relate. Like that is the battle. It's the devil and the angel constantly, going at each other like, well, doubt, right? You don't have to do this. We can run. We
Yeah, we can run at
don't have
any
to.
time.
I can't tell you how many times when I was younger, I would not go to an audition or make my way out of something when the fear or the doubt got so much that I couldn't take it. And it just got so all consuming that I was like, no, I can't do it. And it's funny because we're constantly battling ourselves and we're constantly battling our shadow and our insecurity. And we're going back and forth between our aligned ideal life and the fear of having it. And the idea that, God, I have to show up another day, or I'm so tired, or, oh, I don't want to take this meeting. Or I can't tell you, I used to get headaches right before big important events. I had to do a whole call cut sort of healing on myself to stop my body from having this physiological reaction. And it would be a headache constantly. And I can tell you honestly, Jackie, sometimes, I could be around toxic people and get a headache. Right. So I'm in a room
Yeah.
and I'm like, ooh, some low vibe and tribe right here. So no. But that's not what this was. This was 100% self sabotage. And it takes a lot to pull yourself out of that and to be like, okay, no, I am going to take this client. I am going to show up for
Mhm.
class. I am going to do something new and different and exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been such a big journey with all of that. I could definitely relate with the self-sabotage just in a lot of circumstances in all my whole aspects of life. Like, I think fear is that battle constantly.
it is. And people feel alone in fear, but they're not.
Mhm.
It's odd because when you talk to many people will say they feel lonely, they feel like they're going through this on their own. But interestingly enough, so many people are going through the exact same thing in different ways. That in a weird way, fear does unite people in this sort of odd paradox, but it's not the kind of unification that we're looking for. Like, we don't want to trauma bond. We want to move ourselves up and we want to make these decisions, you know, from this really empowered place. The cool thing about
100%.
fear, though, fear can activate you, it can push you forward. Especially if you're on a stage or you've got to get ready to go somewhere and it's like, well, crap, I'm here now.
Gotta do it. Here we go. Yeah, it's true.
Can't,
I'm
yeah,
here. I
yeah.
think that's what sometimes needs to happen. Like, it's just, I have to, the class, especially starting out with teaching yoga or just with business, it's like, just book the client. You're feeling really confident right now. You'll figure it out later. Like, just do it. You'll figure it out.
Mm.
It's okay. And I think those just repeated exposures of just doing it was really what I needed.
We train ourselves in different ways to deal and to cope with everything that's given to us. And so you have trained yourself to cope in a positive way, which is super interesting, that even though you have all of this stuff going on and you have that little devil in your head, the doubt and the
Mhm.
fear, there's something else that's activated in you that is a little bit stronger. It's a narrative that's slightly stronger, that's pushing past the fear and allowing you to take a step through that open door and being like, okay, I call it stupidly optimistic. But that's not really what it is, right?
Feels that way.
Because it's this sense that, like, I'm scared. I'm not going to do it. And maybe, and sometimes I will sabotage, right? But
Mm.
then there's this other side that activates that's like, no, full speed ahead, going to go for it, going to do it. Oh, okay, gonna make that phone call, gonna take that meeting, gonna build that website, whatever it is. And I wonder if that's something that also happens, like, when you're a kid. You shared something with me that I loved, and I would love if
Mhm.
you don't mind sharing that story here as well.
Yeah. I think I realized, not too long ago that I have been battling my mind for a long time, and the earliest I can recall was in 3rd grade when I had a health class, and the health class was talking about, bloodborne pathogens, and it was, like, this really wonky video that obviously made no sense to me, and I went home and I was like, "Well, looks like I have AIDS," and my mind went crazy for a year. I will say I got in bed every single night and prayed to my prayed to God because I was religious at the time, "Please don't let me have AIDS. Please don't let me have AIDS," and I would do it, like, OCD-ish almost, like, every single night, and I don't remember when it stopped, but I never told anybody, I kept that in, and I tell the story to some friends, like, very minimal friends, like, when it comes up,
Mm.
it's just sometimes, and it's funny, and I laugh about it a lot, but recently, I told this story to a group that was for somatic healing because I realized I had like an insight that it was just like, I know I just didn't feel safe in my body. Like, I didn't feel safe. The anxiety was taking over, the mind was taking over way too much. I didn't have any way to cope with it. Um, and I didn't ask for help. And I got really emotional about it. And I was like, wow, okay, it's something that I needed to sit with that little one to be like, you're safe, you're okay. And I think since then, my mind has spiraled in ways in certain circumstances that I'm like, it really can relate right back to me being in 3rd grade, that little one that was scared, didn't know what was happening, and didn't have any way to cope. So I think about her often when I'm scared and spiraling, and I sit with her and just really try to keep her calm because it really is just our little ones just reaching out and trying to get some safety from the situation. It just brings us right back, reverts us right back into that little space.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because it's so easy to knock a child off that path of safety. And that child all of a sudden has information that A, they weren't ready for, B, they don't really understand. And now they're saddled with it. And they don't have the mental capacity yet to know what to do with it. So that trauma then contributes to how you see things. And anytime your safety is questioned, you kind of go right back to that spiraling moment. Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Which is ultimately what anxiety is anxiety is the overwhelming feeling that you're not safe and something is off and something's going to happen to you, whether it's a hypochondriac starts to think, oh my God, I'm going to die of everything under the sun. I had that with my anxiety for a short, not fun period of time where I was dying of everything. As a matter of fact, I tell this story all the time. I had this cardiologist and I had gone to him because with anxiety, you have to, check the heart just to make sure that you don't have an issue with the mitral valve. So he checked my heart. Nothing was wrong with the heart. So I go on vacation with my family, and, it's all of us at this house in Jersey, and it's my cousins. So it's not even like I'm with people that I I'm actually safe with, right? These lunatics. So, this woman at the house starts to tell us that she has a rare form of spina bifida. Okay. And as she starts describing these symptoms, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I have that. And I have that. And I have that. And I go into this massive
Yeah.
attack, right? I run down, and I mean, this was this house was Whitney Houston's old house or something. It was creepy, right? Run down this
Wow.
ramp, right? And I'm away from everybody because they're all up at the pool, and I don't want anybody to hear me. I call him up, and this guy Dr. Zola, he's passed, but he picked up. And I said, Dr. Zola, oh my God, you have no idea. I think I figured this out. And he's like, "You have?" I said, "Yes, I think I have a rare form of spina bifida, and that's what this is." And he's like, "Oh my God, where are you?" I said, "I'm on the boardwalk. I'm standing, on the deck." He's like, "What hand are you holding the phone with?" I'm like, "My right." He's like, "Okay, pick up your left hand." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "And slap yourself with it." I was just like, "Okay." And I sat
That's very funny.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, okay." So I guess that's a
Got
misdiagnosis.
it.
So, but, um, that's one way to deal with a
Yeah,
hypochondriac.
relatable.
Right? And I never forgot that moment too, and I thought, "Right, because that's probably gonna be the fastest way to heal the real issue that I have, which is, snap out of it." But I can relate, and it is real. And what's so interesting is it feels real. Our brains are I mean, arguably, our brains create everything, right? Every single thing, every interaction, every feeling, every emotion is being created by the mind. And so our minds just create all of this anxiety and all of this fear with no basis in one trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a journey for sure just to figure out. I think it's funny that you called me onto this podcast because this year has been just enlightening with my mind. I've been just trying to pinpoint things and really get more clear about what's happening just to make more aligned action in business and more aligned action in life and not letting fear take control over me. Um, so I was taking this course about mindset and it was about anxiety and creating peace and just like getting more tools for that. And then you asked me to be on the podcast about I found I started listening a lot more to your podcast and I was like, that's exactly what I need. All these things that you say are fantastic. And like just hearing about your story and your anxiety and how you had to battle fear a lot and just your mind. I was like, this came at the perfect time. And then you asked me to be on. I was like, this is crazy. Very universally connected and very synchronistic.
Yeah. Well, there are no accidents. And I
Hmm.
think, well, I just know because I've known you for a long time, especially as a younger person, that you are destined to do wonderful things in the world. I've always known that.
Thank you.
Going with that, anxiety is going to be a part of that because, anytime you are out there trying to do good in the world, equal and opposite force is going to come at you. And oftentimes it's of your own creation. It doesn't mean that it's not real, right? And it
Mm.
doesn't mean that you're not feeling it and being impacted by it. And that's the whole reason that I did the whole call cut method is because if we can learn to just cut it right in that moment and stop that, as you said, spiral as it's going on and on and on, and just ask ourselves, is this real? Am I safe? Do I need to react? Do I have to respond? And constantly keep resetting that story. You eventually rewire the brain to tell a different story. And you start to notice that you're not reacting to things the way you used to. Like, my self sabotage journey has come to an end. I don't do it anymore. Yeah.
That's good.
And what's weird is, and I think you'll know what I mean by this, the thought goes into the mind, but the emotion doesn't attach to it.
Mhm.
Right? So in order to get into an attack or to allow a reaction, the emotion is got to fuel the thought. So you think something and you get scared and suddenly everything goes. Your mind reacts, your body reacts, your spirit reacts. If you train yourself not to react, just to be an observer, right? Buddhism talks about observing the mind and observing the thoughts, but not really reacting. It's because you don't give the thought the fuel to become something tangible,
Mhm.
right? And
Talk about this in yoga all the time. Just yeah, just being the observer rather than attaching emotion to it. It's something we practice all the time.
yeah,
But
and
it's hard. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
it is, it's worth it to wrangle yourself a little bit, right? I like to do it with anger. Anger is the easiest one to do it with because if you can hold on, like you're getting upset about something, but stop yourself right in that moment, 9 times out of 10, you realize you're not actually angry about what's happening in that moment. You're pulling on an old wound and an old story. And that is what's fueling you in that moment to be angry and to react. And here's how I see it. If you got a big dream, right now, you have a business that you're bringing into this world, you need your energy. And you need all of that energy focused on that. It's why I get so hyper obsessed with cutting toxic people out of your life, getting rid of toxic situations, moving yourself away from these negative thoughts, because all of those things take your life force energy and they drain it. And you need
Yeah.
that to put into your passion. You need that to put into your dream. And if you don't have the energy, you're exhausted, you're distracted, you're drained. And then that's when people start to say, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow." And you
That's so
can't.
true.
Yeah. So all this work that you've done has brought you to this point where, you ended up, you just got married, right? Recently.
In July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Even that journey has been an interesting one just with like, my experience with love, especially as a young person, my first experience wasn't ideal. Like I had a really skewed version of love, and it was just a hard thing to try to rewrite. And I think there was a time where I was like, I'm sick of my shit. I'm sick of it. And I know this isn't helping anybody, not helping the relationship I'm in now. And I need to stop all these patterns, behaviors, and just stop because that's not true. These things aren't true about love, about relationships, about myself, based on the stories that I had taken from past relationships. And um, just calling cut to that, essentially, and I remember the day, it was actually New Year's Eve, and my husband and I got into an argument on New Year's Eve, and it was years ago, probably, like, 9 years ago at this point, and I, remember the day after, I had just, like, this hard conversation with myself, like, I journaled, and I was like, "This is not gonna be conducive to helping you grow at all. These constant behaviors, these patterns, these sabotaging behaviors, you're pushing him away, you're scared, you're this, like, you don't trust, you have a lot of self-confidence stuff that you're still working on, but, like, this needs to end." And I remember being like, "I'm gonna stop this, 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 and this." Like, I had a list of things to stop, and I kept to it for the most part. I was like, I could feel myself pulling to go back to those patterns, but at the same time, I knew that the other side would be better, and I could feel the shift even between my now husband and I. And then we ended up moving in together, and it was just great after that. Not to say there was some moments where I was still feeling the fear, especially about marriage. We both come from marriages that didn't end well. Our parents both separated, and it was awful marriages, and it sometimes feels like the marriages that we're around aren't ideal or happy, and we both had to sit with that conversation to be and sit with ourselves and then have a conversation about it to be like, is this something that we want together? How are we going to be different? How are we going to change the narrative that marriage is hard? How we are going to change the narrative that like we can, be in love and still married. And yeah, there was like one moment that I will never forget. I was in this funk, just like feeling like I don't know. Like marriage feels scary to me right now, and I'm still feeling like this like deep fear about it. And he said, "Listen, I want you to be happy, and it doesn't matter if it's with me or if it's with somebody else. I just want you to be happy." And I bawled and I was like, "This is definitely a relationship that will go through things that are hard." And I'm very thankful for that, because of even bringing up some things that are difficult to even talk about myself. He was just meeting me with such grace and unconditional love about it, and getting emotional just thinking about it because it was this really nice moment for us. And from there was more like, yeah, like we can take on the world. It'll be fine. Like we're gonna figure it out. We don't have to keep the same narrative that marriage is hard. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
know where I was really going with that, but it was
no, no, you went in the right place because everything that you're saying, it goes back to doing the work, to sitting down and looking at yourself, looking in the mirror, right? Oftentimes people project instead of reflect, and the work is in the shadow. So being able to sit in your shit, so to speak, and look at yourself and say, "Okay, Jackie, where am I responsible for this?" What you didn't do was allow your past love situation to inform your new one. And that is something that is so hard to do. So many of us bring that baggage into the next one and into the next one and into the next one because human beings, interestingly enough, we have a hard time letting go. And it's even harder letting go when you don't know. So the remedy for that is the reflection, is what exactly what you did, sitting down and being like, "All right, girl, what is your deal?" You know?
Yeah.
You know? And we all have to say, like, what is your major malfunction? Why are you behaving this way? And look at what you got out of it. See, that's the part
Mm,
that I really love. Some people won't do reflection work because they feel that they are never wrong, that they are infallible, that they are always right and somebody else is the problem. Well, that's okay. You could think that way, but then you don't evolve. And you certainly won't evolve with another person because that person has their own shadow work to do. And what you and your husband have done is meet, excuse me, you've met in the middle. He looks at himself, you look at yourself. And I love what you said about this is a relationship that will have to go through hard things. They all do. And oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah, my eye's itching. Maybe that's a sign when the eye itches. But they all do. And people give up on
Mhm.
the relationships that they're in because A, they don't want to accept another human being for who they are, but they want to be fully accepted. So that doesn't always work. B, they have expectations that are not being met because expectations can't be met by another human being who doesn't have space to hold your expectations and may not even know you have them, right? And then B, like, we're all human. We're all fallible. We all mess up. We do stupid things. I'm not saying that you should be with somebody who's abusive or any of that. No. But sometimes we don't give people grace. We hold them to such a high level that often I notice people who hold people to high levels don't hold themselves to the same standards.
Mhm.
Yeah. So good for you and kudos to you that
Thanks.
you did that shadow work and look at where you are. married
Thanks.
in this beautiful house with a
Yeah.
business, and I mean, maybe we have a little Jackie at some point, but there's so much left to grow when we're willing to do that work and we're willing to just follow our hearts. And that is one of the things, as I said at the top, that I absolutely love about you as a person. Just, you really are. And I don't say this often, but you really are beautiful inside and out. It's a real soul thing. There's nothing pretentious or phony about it. It's real. I knew it from the moment I met you, as a
Yeah.
kid. And I remember I give you this advice and you were
Yeah.
like, "Okay." And off she goes. And I was
Pretty
like,
big advice you gave me.
I
And
did.
I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah, you did it.
Done.
And you took the chance and but that's also because you were very in tune with your intuition and your heart. And I think you are a really good example of somebody who lives by the heart. And
Thank
it
you.
would be great to get all of us, to live by the heart and not
Mm.
by the fear of the mind. And everybody has the capacity to do it. We all do. It's just turning this one down and turning this one up.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, you were the first person that truly helped me step into my intuition. I felt like I was just looking for something that I wasn't sure what I was looking for. And conversations with you at the cottage and just about energy and intuition and angels and just like your path and things that really resonated hard with me. And then you got me my first tarot deck. Like, you did so much to help me through that whole journey. I look back and I'm so thankful that I met you, and just I feel like you propelled me into this stage of life. And I feel like I owe you a lot,
No,
and I love you.
oh,
You're
I
amazing.
love you. Yeah, and yeah, okay. It's gonna happen, but I cry at everything, but it's so
Me too.
it's so funny, Jackie. And first of all, thank you. And you owe me nothing. I love you. I love you so dearly. You have no idea. And I actually remember we got in your car and we drove to that Barnes and Noble from the cottage.
I still have them.
Yeah, I remember that moment like so vividly because I do. I've said this to Joe 1,000 times. I was like, I just absolutely loved her from day one. Like
Mm.
total bond, total connection. And I'm so glad that it never broke and that we are here now and, and beyond. And I know that everything that's in your life right now, this is just the beginning and it's going to go bigger and grander and even more than you could ever possibly imagine. And man, are we all going to be better for it? So,
Thank you so much, Angélique. You're
well,
amazing.
no, you. And on that note, where can people find you or connect with you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My personal is my yogi Jackie, and I post a lot of yoga stuff there. And then my business page is AV Speech Therapy on Instagram, and I think it's avspeechtherapy.net for my website. So
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, folks, you heard it. So that is where you can follow and find my dear sweet friend Jackie. Jackie, thank you so much for coming on Call Cut with Angélique. This was such a great conversation, and I love your heart and how open you are and all the beautiful things that you're doing in this world. And we cannot wait to follow your journey.
I am so honored. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me on Call Cut with Angélique. New episodes drop every Friday. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, share with your friends. And remember, folks, no matter what life gives you, you must always keep shining.